You also see that sometimes they speak of war posers saying, I don't know, with this kind of aircraft, with what, will come and carry out these operations. Don't pose. This is not a new development either. In the past, Americans, on many occasions, in their own statements, threatened that all options were on the table. All options, meaning including the option of war. They always said this, didn't they? All options are on the table. This gentleman out there is also constantly claiming, yes, we brought our ships and just look at all we've accomplished. In my opinion, the Iranian nation should not be intimidated by such things. The Iranian nation is not influenced by these words. It does not fear a confrontation for what is right. We are not the aggressors. We do not intend to oppress anyone. We have no desire to launch an attack against any country. However, should anyone harbor ill intentions, display greed, attempt an assault, or seek to cause harm or harassment, the Iranian nation will deliver a firm and decisive blow. Let the Americans also be fully aware of this fact. If they dare to ignite a war this time, this particular conflict will inevitably escalate into a regional war.
What's the situation with America and Iran?
This significant disparity that currently exists, it has been going on for over 40 years. Iran and America are enemies. What is this problem? To me, the issue boils down to two words, and those two words are America wants to swallow Iran. The brave Iranian nation and the Islamic Republic are the obstacle.
That's how it is. Yes, that's absolutely right.
I told them I went to propose. Everything was settled. The whole matter came down to two words. I say, we want your daughter. And they say, you're completely mistaken. The Iranian nation has now told the opposing side, you are gravely mistaken, meaning the crime of the Iranian nation. The entire dispute is precisely about this issue. In Iran, your country, it has a great many attractive qualities. Iran's oil, for example, is a powerful attraction, and Iran's gas as well holds a strong appeal. Iran's rich mineral resources hold significant appeal. Its strategic geographical location and unique position are also highly attractive. Beyond these, there are numerous other distinctive qualities. Iran is undeniably a nation that stands as a significant power. An overly ambitious and aggressive power will inevitably cast its greedy eyes on a nation such as this. Naturally, Iran is a country of this kind, so they want to take control of this nation, just like those who had previously occupied it. For over 30 years, indeed, for more than 3 decades, Americans were present in Iran. Its resources were under their control, and its oil was in their hands. Politics was in their hands. Security was in their hands. Their connections with the world were in their hands. Everything was under their control. They did whatever they pleased. For 30 years, they've been trying to reclaim everything they lost. They want to bring back the exact conditions of the Pahlavi era. The Iranian nation, too, stands firm. They bravely stood their ground, preventing this hostility. This is what the entire conflict is truly about. I don't know about the other human rights discussions. They speak of these matters, the things that they are saying, those people. The issue, the fundamental issue is this. He is consumed by greed. Iran has stood strong, and it will continue to stand strong. And hopefully we'll get that person out of. Constant teasing and harassment will lead to disappointment.
Lombardy Poplar.
در قبل از این فتنه هم این خیابان‌های تهران شاهد جنایاتی بودن، شاهد حوادثی بودن. در 30 خرداد سال 60 منافقین تو همین خیابان‌های تهران با تیغ موکتبر به جون بسیجی‌ها افتاده بودن. از این قضایا زیاد دیدیم ما. این اولیش نبود، آخریش هم نیست. در همه این حوادث و به طور خاص انسان دست بیگانگان رو مشاهده میکنه. به طور خاص دست آمریکا رو، دست رژیم صهیونیستی رو مشاهده میکنه در این حوادث. البته در این فتنه اخیر و قبل از این در بقیه حوادث مسئولین انتظامی، بسیج و سپاه و دیگران که مسئولیت داشتن کاملا به مسئولیت خودشون عمل کردن، اما اون چیزی که آتش فتنه رو زیر پاش خاکستر کرد مردم بودن. هم این دفعه اینجور بود، هم سال 88 اینجوری بود، هم موارد دیگر اینجوری بود. وقتی که مردم وارد میدان میشن، تصمیم میگیرن، آتش ها رو خاموش میکنن، شعله ها رو خاکستر میکنن. این اتفاقی بود که این دفعه هم افتاد. بعد از این هم به توفیق الهی اگر چنانچه حادثه‌ای برای کشور پیش بیاد، خدای متعال این مردم رو مبعوث خواهد کرد برای مقابله با حوادث. کار رو مردم تمام خواهند.
آمریکا، مرگ بر 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 آمریکا، مرگ. The armies of European countries will be formally designated as terrorist organizations, and the full ramifications of this grave action will be borne solely by the European Union. These attacks will only serve to further solidify and enhance the social cohesion and unity among our people and steadfast support of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which is absolutely crucial for upholding and safeguarding the honor, dignity, and national security of our beloved nation.
Under that provision, he said, the armed forces of European countries are now considered terrorist entities by the Islamic Republic of Iran. The declaration marks a significant rhetorical escalation at a time of already strained relations between Tehran and European capitals. The European Union's designation of the IRGC followed growing concerns over Iran's regional military activities, its ballistic missile program, and its response to domestic unrest. Iranian officials have repeatedly rejected the EU's move as illegal and politically motivated, warning that it would carry consequences. Sunday's announcement appears to formalize those warnings, at least at the legislative level. However, it remains unclear what practical or immediate impact Iran's decision will have. Analysts note that the declaration is largely symbolic, as Iran and European militaries have limited direct engagement. There has been no announcement so far of specific operational, diplomatic, or economic measures tied to the designation. European governments have not yet issued a collective response to Iran's statement. Diplomats are expected to closely monitor Tehran's next steps, particularly whether the move could affect existing diplomatic channels, military deconfliction efforts, or the safety of European personnel in the region.
The decision they made was a major strategic error, just like their previous mistake concerning the so-called snapback mechanism, and they have progressively marginalized their influence and presence in the affairs of our region. I think that very soon, just like snapback, who after some time said they had made a mistake, in this particular case, they will also very quickly come to the conclusion that they have made a mistake. Had been arranged quite some time ago in response to the visit a few months back by Mr. Hakan Fidan, the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs of Turkey, to review bilateral relations as well as regional and international issues. Well, Iran and Turkey are two major neighboring countries, and we have always maintained very close consultations. We have very close relations in various political, economic, social, and cultural areas, and we also hold close consultations on regional issues. And naturally, at this very moment, the issues concerning our region are indeed extremely serious. There are significant challenges that we face, and the stated objectives that are being articulated by the United States and other international actors, well, they certainly make it absolutely imperative for us to engage in much closer consultations, to thoroughly review all the complex regional matters and to ensure a complete and unified coordination of our positions. And also, in any case, regarding the ways of confronting these challenges and the ways of finding a way out of them, let's exchange our opinions. The truth is, Europe is a continent in decline, and it has lost its role on the international stage, and it continues to lose it more and more each day. And I'm surprised that they themselves are doing this to themselves with their own hands. This shows that Europe has no proper understanding of international conditions, no proper understanding of the conditions of our region, and no proper understanding of its own interests. The decision they made was a major strategic error, just like their previous mistake concerning the so-called snapback mechanism, and they have progressively marginalized their influence and presence in the affairs of our region. I think that very soon, just like snapback, who after some time said they had made a mistake, in this particular case, they will also very quickly come to the conclusion that they have made a mistake.
In Iran, horrific crackdown on protesters has come at a heavy human cost. The EU already has sweeping sanctions in place, and today ministers agreed to designate Iran Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organization. This will put them on the same footing with Daesh, Hamas, Hezbollah, Al-Qaeda. Those who operate through terror must be treated as terrorists.
Tensions in the Middle East are surging once again, and this time Europe has stepped directly into the fire. Iran erupted in fury on Thursday after the European Union formally designated the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps a terrorist organization, a move Tehran is calling a major strategic mistake. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi accused Europe of fanning the flames of war at a moment when multiple countries are scrambling to prevent an all-out regional conflict. Writing on X, Araghchi said the EU was acting at Washington's behest, repeating what he called a pattern of submission after European powers helped trigger the return of UN sanctions on Iran last year. He warned, "This is our national military. Designating it a terrorist organization crosses a dangerous line." Iran's armed forces went further, blasting the decision as illogical, irresponsible, and spite-driven. In a statement carried by state media, military leaders accused the EU of blindly obeying the hegemonic and anti-human policies of the United States and Israel. But Brussels is standing firm. EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas confirmed the decision was unanimous among all 27 member states, citing Iran's bloody crackdown on nationwide protests. She said the Revolutionary Guard would now be treated on the same footing as groups like Al-Qaeda, Hamas, and ISIS.
In Iran, horrific crackdown on protesters has come at a heavy human cost. The EU already has sweeping sanctions in place, and today ministers agreed to designate Iran Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organization. This will put them on the same footing with Daesh, Hamas, Hezbollah, Al-Qaeda. Those who operate through terror must be treated as terrorists. Ministers also imposed sanctions on those responsible for the brutal crackdown of protests, including the Minister of Interior. Repression cannot go unanswered. Beyond this, ministers adopted new sanctions on those involved in Iran's war support to Russia and expanded export controls. Ministers were clear that Iran must release all those unjustly detained, including the European Union citizens. Going forward, we must be ready to further increase pressure on the authorities and continue supporting Iran's civil society.
The EU also sanctioned 15 Iranian officials, including senior guard commanders, over a crackdown activists say has killed at least 6,373 people. While largely symbolic, the move sharply escalates international pressure on Tehran and comes as the region braces for potential military confrontation. The United States has quietly added fuel to the standoff. Another Navy destroyer, the USS Delbert D. Black, has entered the Middle East, bringing the total to 6 destroyers, alongside an aircraft carrier and additional combat ships. The USS Abraham Lincoln carrier strike group is already positioned in the region. President Donald Trump has warned of possible military action over Iran's repression and alleged mass executions. Iran, in response, has threatened preemptive strikes and issued warnings of live fire drills in the Strait of Hormuz, a choke point for 20% of the world's oil supply. As warships move, sanctions mount, and rhetoric hardens, the question grows louder. Is this pressure meant to restrain Iran, or is the region being pushed toward another devastating confrontation?
The Middle East is standing on the edge of a blade. And now, Iran is making something brutally clear. It will not bow down. In a series of chilling warnings, Iran's top leadership says any U.S. attack, any attack, at any level, will be treated as the start of all-out war. Not retaliation, not restraint, war. A senior advisor to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei issued the threat plainly and deliberately, posting in both Persian and Hebrew. The message was unmistakable. A limited U.S. strike is an illusion. Iran says the response would be immediate, comprehensive, and unprecedented. And the target? The heart of Tel Aviv. This wasn't rhetoric whispered behind closed doors. It was broadcast to the world. And it didn't stop there. Iran warned that anyone who supports the aggressor, militarily, politically, or strategically, would also be in the crosshairs. In other words, this wouldn't stay local. This wouldn't stay contained. This would spread. Iran's foreign minister doubled down. Our armed forces, he said, have their fingers on the trigger, ready, waiting, prepared to respond to any aggression, on land, in the air, or at sea. Yet in the same breath, Tehran offered a sharp contrast. Iran says it is still open to a nuclear deal, but only one built on mutual respect, no threats, no coercion. A deal without humiliation, a deal without surrender. And here's the reality shaking capitals from Washington to Jerusalem. Iran believes it has already been attacked. It believes the red lines are already crossed. U.S. warships, including a massive aircraft carrier strike group, are now positioned in Middle East waters, an armada, as U.S. President Donald Trump called it. Trump has warned that the next strike would be far worse than the last, that time is running out, that Iran must come to the table. But Tehran's response? If pushed, Iran will respond like never before. This is not just about nuclear centrifuges. This is not just about sanctions. Iran is facing massive internal unrest, deadly crackdowns, internet blackouts, an economy under crushing pressure. U.S. officials say the regime is weaker than ever. European leaders predict its days are numbered. But Iran's message tonight is defiant. Weakness does not mean submission. Pressure does not mean collapse. threats do not mean obedience. Instead, Tehran is signaling something far more dangerous, that if war comes, it will not be symbolic, it will not be surgical, and it will not be restrained. The heart of Tel Aviv, regional allies, global consequences. The question now is simple and terrifying. Who blinks first? Meanwhile, beneath the surface, something is shifting in the Middle East.